in particular how they backstabbed the Arabs and the Muslims. Now, we need to start wrapping up what exactly happens. Obviously, Germany eventually is defeated, and Germany basically resigns or surrenders at a very infamous date at 11 a.m. in the 11th day of the 11th month. This is a famous thing that happened. It just so happened 11 a.m. on the 11th of November in the year 1918. This is when World War I officially comes to an end, and there are many results of the end of World War I. I'll summarize some of them. That obviously, first and foremost, there was the loss of life. In some European lands, more than 20% of the male population is gone. Changes the whole dynamics. Second was the famine, because when you don't have men, you're not going to have fields, you're not going to have this. And the famine probably killed at least triple or quadruple the amount that died in the actual war. Tens of millions of people across the globe died as a result of famine. And then when you have famine and you have a lack of sanitation and whatnot, then the third disaster. And this was the Spanish influenza of 1918. And what will make you understand what is the Spanish influenza? The Spanish influenza was the worst plague that man has seen since the Black Death of 1320 or something. It is estimated that up to 5% of the world's population died in the Spanish influenza. The Spanish influenza, it's called the Spanish influenza, but it spanned the globe from America to the Far East. People just fell sick, healthy people, and the demographics were typically between 35 to 55. Healthy people would just start coughing blood, and this was I forgot to mention, this is the original bird flu virus. H1N1, this is the first one. And that's why when the bird flu virus resurrected 3-4 years ago, everybody panicked. Because they didn't have a cure for the Spanish influenza. It just stopped on its own. After a good percentage of the world just basically died. And this was the largest plague that mankind had seen basically since the Black Death. It is estimated that up to 100 million people died in the Spanish influenza of 1918, 1919, 1920. On a personal note, my own great-grandfather also died in 1918 as a young man. My own great-grandfather in 1918 just fell sick, started coughing. And this is in the village of India, right? Middle of nowhere. And Spanish influenza, 1918. So that was the third issue that we're going to talk about. So the first was basically the tragedies of the war itself. The second was the famine. Then the third was the Spanish influenza. Obviously, World War I also caused a lot of economic and social reforms that's beyond the scope of this class, but just one nukta or one footnote here, feminism. Feminism. For the first time in human history, the roles of men and women were reassessed. In human history, not Muslim history, it was understood what is the role of a man and the role of a woman. In human history, across the globe, men and women have a certain understanding and relationship. Men are in charge of one thing, women are in charge of another. As Allah says, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. The man is not like the woman. And it is understood the woman is more of a caretaker, more of a homemaker. This has historically always been the case. Well, 1918 changes all of that. It has to. When 20% of your population that are men are gone, what's going to happen? Women have to go to the workforce. And women are told you have to take, and for the first time, and we have many posters to this day, that you have women, you can do it. You know that poster of a woman with the scarf and the quintessential feminist poster, right? That masculine look with the muscles. You can do it, right? You're going to go and do it. And World War I was the first time when women were asked to leave the sanctity of the house, the peacefulness of the house, and were told, go and work, we need you. Then obviously, when they're going to do this, and World War II made it even bigger, so the first wave of feminism began after World War I, the second wave, not coincidentally, after World War II, and then we are still basically seeing this entire reshifting of men and women. All of this comes about from World War I, but for us, we are interested in the politics, and especially the Middle East and the Ottoman